My crush's friends gave me a makeover. Now I'm the queen bee. The rain drummed softly against my bedroom window, the steady rhythm filling the silence as I sat hunched over my desk, pretending to study. My textbooks were open, but the truth was, I hadn't read a single word. My thoughts kept drifting to something else, something I tried desperately to hide from everyone, especially Emma. My name is Ryan Carter, a junior at Eastwood High. To most people, I was ordinary, quiet, a little nerdy, always sitting in the back of class. But beneath that unremarkable surface lived a secret I had never dared share. Ever since I was 13, I'd been fascinated by femininity, the softness of dresses, the shimmer of lipstick, the way girls carried themselves with effortless grace. It wasn't that I wanted to stop being me entirely, but sometimes I wished I could step into their world, just for a moment. Of course, in a small suburban town like Eastwood, secrets like mine could destroy a person's reputation. One rumor, one slip-up, and high school would turn into a battlefield. So I kept it buried. At least, I thought I did. The only person who came close to my secret was Emma. She wasn't just another girl. She was the girl, my longtime crush, the kind of girl who seemed untouchable. Emma was confident, witty, and beautiful in that natural way that made every guy in school notice her. But what drew me to her wasn't just her looks. It was how she treated people. She had this uncanny ability to make you feel seen, even if you were the invisible kid in the back row. Somehow, over the past year, we'd become close friends. Close enough that she'd text me late at night when she was stressed, close enough that I'd walk her home after study sessions, close enough that the thought of her finding out my secret made my stomach twist into knots. Because Emma wasn't just anyone. She was popular, and with popularity came her circle of friends, the bold, glamorous girls who ruled the social halls like queens. They weren't cruel exactly, but they had the kind of confidence that made you feel small if you didn't measure up. And if they ever suspected my secret, I didn't even want to imagine what they'd do. That Friday evening, Emma had invited me over to hang out. Nothing unusual, we'd done it before. But this time felt different. She'd sounded a little mischievous over the phone, her voice laced with excitement. "Trust me, Ryan," she'd said. "You'll like this. And besides, you owe me one." I hadn't questioned her, though a flicker of nervousness stayed with me. Emma had a way of pulling me out of my comfort zone, and I couldn't decide if I loved or hated that about her. I grabbed my jacket, shoved my notebook into my bag, and glanced at myself in the mirror before leaving. Ordinary. That's all I ever saw. Brown hair falling into my eyes, thin shoulders, an average face. The kind of guy who blended into the background. Safe. Invisible. But there was a part of me that wondered what it would be like to be more. Emma lived only a few blocks away, in a 2-story house that always felt warmer than mine. My parents were strict, traditional, and distant, never giving me much space to explore who I was. At Emma's place, I felt freer. Her mom was always working late shifts, and her dad had left years ago, so it was just her and her older brother most of the time. That night, though, her brother was gone too, leaving the house unusually quiet. When she opened the door, Emma greeted me with her usual grin, but there was a spark in her eyes I hadn't seen before. She wore an oversized hoodie and leggings, casual yet effortlessly perfect. "Took you long enough," she teased, pulling me inside. The living room looked normal, snacks on the table, TV remote tossed on the couch. But when she led me upstairs to her room, my heart skipped a beat. Laid out neatly across her bed were clothes. Not just clothes, girls' clothes. Dresses, skirts, shoes, accessories. And makeup. So much makeup. I froze. Emma leaned against her dresser, crossing her arms with a sly smile. "So," she said casually, "my friends are coming over in a bit. And I told them you'd be our volunteer." "Volunteer?" My voice cracked. "For a makeover," she said, her grin widening. "Come on, Ryan, it'll be fun. You always play it safe. This will be something different. And don't even try to say no, because you promised you'd pay me back after I helped you with that math project." My heart pounded in my chest. This couldn't be happening. Out of all the things I feared, being caught, exposed like this was the worst. But Emma's friends? They didn't know my secret. To them, it was just a silly prank, a harmless makeover on the quiet boy. They had no idea that deep down part of me wanted this. I swallowed hard, torn between panic and a strange, electrifying thrill. The clothes on the bed called to me in ways I couldn't explain. My fingers itched to touch them, to know what it would feel like to wear them without hiding. But not like this. Not in front of Emma's friends. Emma, She stepped closer, lowering her voice, her playful expression softening. Relax, Ryan. It's just for fun. No one's going to think less of you. I promise. But how could she promise that? She didn't know what it meant for me. This wasn't just fun. This was the very thing I had kept locked away for years. The sound of a car pulling into the driveway made me jolt. Laughter echoed outside. Her friends were here. Emma glanced toward the window, then back at me with a mischievous smile. Too late to back out now, she whispered. And just like that, the doorbell rang. My fate was sealed. The doorbell rang again, louder this time, followed by the sound of voices drifting through the hallway. Emma, one of them called, giggling. Open up already. It's freezing out here. I felt my stomach lurch. My instinct screamed at me to run, to make up an excuse and bolt out the back door. But Emma grabbed my wrist before I could move. Her grip was firm, her eyes glinting with playful defiance. Trust me, Ryan, she whispered. You'll thank me later. The thought of Emma's friends seeing me like this, hovering awkwardly in her room with dresses scattered across the bed, was enough to make my face burn. But before I could protest, Emma jogged downstairs, leaving me alone with the evidence of what was about to happen. The clothes seemed to mock me from where they lay. A pale lavender dress with delicate straps, a short plaid skirt with a fitted blouse, glossy heels that caught the light. I wanted to touch them, to know their texture, but I forced my hands into fists at my sides. No. I couldn't. Not in front of anyone. Then came the thudding of footsteps, multiple sets, heading up the stairs. Emma's door burst open and in tumbled 3 girls, laughing and chattering. They were her closest friends, the ones I'd seen holding court at lunch or breezing down the hallways like they owned the place. There was Sophie, tall and blonde, with a sharp wit and an even sharper tongue. Maya, petite with jet black hair, her fashion sense always bold and daring. And Chloe, bubbly, talkative, always snapping selfies with her wide, bright smile. The moment their eyes landed on me, they broke into synchronized grins. So, this is the volunteer? Sophie said, tossing her hair. Oh my God, Emma wasn't kidding. Maya laughed. This is going to be so much fun. Hi, Ryan. Chloe chirped, waving as though we were old friends. Don't look so nervous. We're not that scary. I managed a weak smile, but my throat was dry. Emma reappeared behind them, holding a basket full of makeup products. See? I told you he'd be perfect. Perfect for what, exactly? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. A little experiment. Emma's grin widened. Tonight, we're going to turn you into one of us. The girls squealed in excitement, already swarming toward the bed to sift through the outfits. My pulse quickened as Sophie lifted the lavender dress, holding it against me with an appraising look. Not bad, she mused. He's slim enough. This could totally work. Maya giggled. We should go all out. Hair, makeup, nails, the full package. Imagine showing him off at school. Everyone would die. The words sent a shiver through me. Show me off? At school? No. Absolutely not. I don't think. Relax, Ryan. Chloe interrupted, her voice soothing. It's just for tonight. No one outside this room has to know. Her reassurance should have calmed me, but instead it made the thrill grow sharper. Because part of me wished someone would know. That someone would look at me, not as invisible Ryan, but as someone different. Before I could dwell on it, Emma clapped her hands. Okay, team. Operation Makeover starts now. Sophie grabbed my shoulders and gently pushed me down onto Emma's desk chair. Sit tight, honey. This is going to be fabulous. The girls worked with the energy of a storm. Chloe spread out makeup brushes and palettes on the desk. Maya laid out clothes with the precision of a stylist preparing a runway model. Emma plugged in a curling iron. And me? I sat frozen, my heart pounding so hard I thought they'd hear it. Sophie leaned close, her perfume sweet and dizzying. First things first, skin. She dabbed foundation onto a sponge and brought it toward my face. Instinctively, I flinched. Don't move, she scolded lightly, smiling. If you mess this up, you'll look patchy. And trust me, no one wants that. Her confidence was disarming. Slowly, I let myself relax as she smoothed the cool liquid across my skin. The sensation was foreign, strange, but not unpleasant. Chloe leaned in, watching closely. Wow, he's got good skin already. This is going to look amazing. Compliments were rare in my life, and hearing them now, especially about something connected to this secret part of me, sent warmth rushing through my chest. Bit by bit, the transformation began. Foundation evened out my complexion. Concealer hid the shadows under my eyes. Powder softened my features. Then came the color. Blush dusted across my cheeks. Eyeshadow swept in shimmering tones of pink and gold. Eyeliner tracing delicate wings that made my eyes look bigger. Every stroke of the brush made me feel more like I was crossing an invisible line, stepping into a world I wasn't supposed to belong to. And yet that felt right. Too right. Emma worked on my hair, running the curling iron through strands, coaxing waves into a shape I'd never seen on myself before. When Chloe clipped a pair of fake lashes onto my lids, I blinked and nearly gasped at the reflection in the mirror. The person staring back was still me, but softer, brighter, almost beautiful. See, Sophie said, admiring her work. Told you he had potential. Maya giggled. Wait until we get him in the dress. Then he'll really look like one of us. The mention of the dress made my nerves spike again. Makeup was one thing, it could be wiped away. But wearing that, putting on clothes I'd secretly dreamed of, in front of people who might laugh, that felt like stepping off a cliff. Emma seemed to sense my hesitation. She crouched beside me, her hand brushing against mine. Hey, she said softly. You're doing amazing. Just trust me a little longer, okay? Her voice was gentle, reassuring. And with Emma looking at me like that, how could I say no? Maya held up the plaid skirt and blouse this time, giving me a sly smile. Start small. This one's cute, not too intimidating. Good choice, Sophie agreed. We can save the dress for later. Emma pressed the outfit into my hands. Go change in the bathroom. Don't keep us waiting. My palms were sweaty as I clutched the clothes. Every step to the bathroom felt heavy, like I was walking toward a point of no return. Once inside, I locked the door and leaned against it, breathing hard. The fluorescent light buzzed overhead, casting sharp shadows on the tiled walls. I stared at the outfit in my hands, trembling. This was it. The moment I'd imagined 1,000 times in secret, now thrust upon me in reality. Slowly, I peeled off my hoodie and jeans, folding them neatly on the counter. The cool air prickled against my skin. Then, with shaky hands, I slipped the blouse over my head. The fabric was soft, delicate, hugging me in ways no shirt ever had. Next came the skirt. Sliding it up my legs sent a shiver through me, and when the waistband settled at my hips, I nearly collapsed from the rush of emotion. I turned toward the mirror. The boy who had walked in was gone. In his place stood someone unfamiliar, yet deeply familiar. Someone I had always wanted to see. And for the first time in years, I smiled at my own reflection. But the knock on the door jolted me back to reality. Ryan. Chloe's voice sang. Come on, let us see. Panic surged. What if they laughed? What if they took pictures and spread them around school? My breath came in shallow gasps. But beneath the fear, a dangerous thought whispered. What if they don't laugh? What if they actually like it? My hand reached for the doorknob. And with one final breath, I opened the door. The room fell silent the moment I stepped out of the bathroom. For pairs of eyes locked on me, widening in surprise. For a heartbeat, I wanted the floor to swallow me whole. The blouse clung in ways that accentuated my frame, and the skirt swished against my thighs with every nervous shift of my weight. I felt exposed, vulnerable, yet strangely alive. Then Chloe broke the silence with a squeal.
Oh, my God.
Look at you. Sophie whistled low, her smirk betraying approval. Not bad, Carter. Not bad at all. Maya clasped her hands together, eyes sparkling. This is even better than I imagined. He looks cute. The word hit me like lightning.
Cute.
No one had ever called me that before. Not in this way. Emma's smile was softer, steadier.
See?
I told you he'd pull it off. I shifted awkwardly, tugging at the hem of the skirt. I don't know if I can. Stop. Sophie stepped forward, placing her hands on my shoulders. Her tone was commanding but not unkind. Own it. Don't hide. You actually look good. Seriously. Her words carried weight. She wasn't teasing, she meant it. Before I could process, Chloe darted forward with her phone, snapping a picture. Panic surged through me.
Wait. Don't.
Relax, she laughed, waving her hand. It's just for us. No one else will see. Promise. But my stomach twisted. Pictures meant proof. Proof that could outlive the night. Proof that could destroy me if it ever leaked. Maya twirled a strand of her hair, circling me like a predator admiring prey. He's got the figure for it. Slim waist, decent legs. We should totally put him in heels. Heels, I squeaked. Emma grinned, holding up a pair of glossy black pumps.
Yup.
These should fit. Size 10, right? My cheeks burned. She remembered. The girls gathered around as Emma crouched, slipping the heels onto my feet. The unfamiliar lift shifted my balance instantly, forcing me to grab her shoulder for support. Careful, she teased. One step at a time. Standing upright, I wobbled like a newborn deer. The girls burst into giggles, but not cruel ones, more like encouragement. You'll get the hang of it, Chloe said. Every queen needs her crown, and every queen needs her heels. Their laughter should have humiliated me, but instead, something stirred deep inside. Each step was shaky, awkward, but also thrilling. The click of the heels on the hardwood floor echoed through me, like I was tapping into a secret rhythm I'd never known existed. Walk for us, Sophie commanded, her grin wicked. Come on, runway time. I froze. Emma nudged me gently. Just a lap. Humor us. My pulse thundered in my ears. But under their expectant gazes, I forced one foot forward, then another. The skirt swished, the heels clicked, my heart raced. By the time I reached the other side of the room, the girls erupted into applause and cheers. Yes, Maya hollered. Work it, Chloe added, clapping. Sophie smirked. Told you he had potential. I couldn't help it, a laugh slipped out of me. Nervous, breathless, but real. And with it came something I hadn't expected. Pride. For the first time in my life, I wasn't invisible. I wasn't just Ryan, the quiet nobody. I was someone who could turn heads, even if it was only in this room. But that pride was dangerous. Because it made me forget for a moment how risky this was. Emma must have sensed the shift in me, because she stepped closer, her eyes searching mine. You're enjoying this, aren't you? The question was simple, but my throat tightened. I couldn't admit it. Not out loud. So I just shook my head, muttering, It's weird. Her smirk told me she didn't believe me for a second. Next outfit. Chloe suddenly declared, diving back to the bed where the lavender dress lay. We've got to see him in this. No. My protest was cut short as Maya grabbed my arm, practically dragging me toward the bathroom again. Oh, don't be shy, she teased. You'll look stunning. Back inside the bathroom, I stared at the lavender dress, my chest heaving. The blouse and skirt had already felt like too much. But a dress? That was the ultimate line. And yet, my fingers trembled with anticipation as I slid the zipper down. The fabric whispered as it slid over my skin, cool and delicate. Pulling it into place, I caught my reflection. My breath caught in my throat. The boy was gone. What stared back was undeniably feminine, soft curves implied by the dress, makeup framing my face in delicate strokes, hair curled into waves. I tilted my head, and the girl in the mirror tilted hers too. She was beautiful. And she was me. The knock came again. Sophie's voice this time. Hurry up, princess. Don't keep us waiting. I wanted to stay hidden in that bathroom forever, just staring at the impossible reflection. But the girls were waiting. With trembling hands, I opened the door. The reaction was explosive. Chloe gasped so loud I thought she'd faint. Oh my God, you're gorgeous. Maya squealed, clutching her chest. I knew it. He's a natural. Sophie's smirk softened into something like awe. Well, well, well. Looks like we've found our queen.
Queen.
The word made my heart stutter. Emma just stood there, eyes locked on me, expression unreadable. For the first time, she didn't tease, didn't laugh. She simply whispered, almost to herself. Wow. Heat rushed to my cheeks. My hands fidgeted at the hem of the dress, unsure what to do. Sophie broke the tension, striding forward with a dramatic flourish. Ladies, I declare that Ryan Carter has officially been reborn. From this day forth, she shall be known as, she paused, tapping her chin. What's her name? The girls erupted into a storm of suggestions. Bella, Lily, Jasmine. Each one made my chest tighten in a mix of terror and exhilaration. Finally, Emma spoke, her voice quiet but firm. Riley. The room hushed. Riley, Maya repeated, testing the sound. Emma nodded, eyes still on me. It suits her. The name wrapped around me like a second skin. Riley. Not Ryan. Not invisible. Riley. The girls cheered, repeating it over and over. Riley. 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 And for the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged. But deep down, beneath the thrill, a voice whispered, what happens when this doesn't stay in this room? The next morning, I thought maybe things would cool down, that people would forget, or at least go back to whispering behind my back instead of staring at me like I was on display. But when I walked into school, something unbelievable happened. Instead of laughter, I was greeted with smiles. Girls waved at me. Guys looked confused, but not in the mocking way. More like they couldn't figure out if they should flirt with me or not. It was surreal. My sister's friends, the ones who had done this to me, suddenly became my royal court. Everywhere I went, they flanked me like bodyguards. They whispered advice in my ear. Don't slouch. Smile, yes, like that. Flick your hair when you're annoyed. It works every time. By lunch, I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. People were sliding over to make room for me. They laughed at my jokes, complimented my outfit, and asked me for opinions on things I didn't even understand. And then it hit me. I wasn't just accepted. I was popular. For the first time in my life, I wasn't invisible, wasn't the background character in someone else's story. I was center stage, the queen bee. But with the crown came the sting. Because every smile, every compliment, every cheer I got wasn't for me. It was for the girl they thought I was. The perfect, stylish, confident queen who had walked into school that morning. And the terrifying part? The longer I played the role, the harder it became to remember who I was underneath.